Commander Elias Rook gripped the podium's edge in Orison Spire's grand concourse, his voice steady as he outlined the trade renewal proposal. The non-aggression framework secures edge lane shipping for all. Varkadian freighters gain priority docking at human outposts, and we commit to joint patrols against pirates. Holo displays flickered behind him, projecting route maps and projected yields, but the Varkadian delegation's armored figures shifted restlessly, their mandibled faces unreadable under the station's stark lights. From the front row, Kethra Vorn rose, her shock trooper plating gleaming like polished obsidian. Towering a head above Rook, she slammed her gauntleted fist against her chest plate, the thud echoing through the chamber. Words from weaklings hide nothing, human. Your kind skulks in shadows, trading baubles while true warriors claim glory. Face me in dominance ritual, now, or withdraw your soft proposals. Rook's pulse quickened, but he kept his expression neutral, scanning the neutral observers ringed around the elevated platform. Diplomatic constraints bound him. No refusal without forfeit of the talks, per Spire protocols. He nodded once, unclasping his formal jacket. Accepted, Champion Vorn. Controlled bout, station rules. The crowd parted as attendants cleared the concourse center into an impromptu circle, force fields humming to life at the perimeter. Rook stripped to his undershirt and trousers, feeling the cool, recycled air on his skin. He trained for this. Diplomatic envoys often faced cultural tests, but Varkadians prized raw physical assertion. Kethra shed her outer armor with efficient snaps, revealing corded muscle under iridescent scales, her forearms flexing in ritual patterns. She lunged first, a blur of controlled fury, upper arms swinging in a feint while Lowers hooked for a takedown. Rook sidestepped, years of disaster relief grapples kicking in. Pivot, counter, unbalance. His hand clamped her wrist, twisting to redirect her momentum. She snarled, mandibles clicking, and reversed with shocking speed, her tail whipping to sweep his legs. He rolled with the impact, shirt ripping along the seam as he sprang up. Fabric tore further on her claw swipe, exposing his back fully, the intricate black tattoo spanning shoulder to hip, interlocking gears of a stylized earth globe, encircled by script denoting Total War Doctrine vetting, classified ink, meant for Black Ops eyes only. Kethra froze mid-strike, her compound eyes widening, pupils dilating in shock. The chamber hushed. She stepped back abruptly, lowering her arms without a word, her tail coiling tight against her legs. A Varkadian sign of disrupted dominance, not defeat. Rook straightened, breathing even, ignoring the stares. He tugged the remnants of his shirt closed. Ritual concluded? She nodded curtly, turning away without explanation, her plating rattling faintly as she stalked to her delegation. From her vantage among the neutral recorders, Archivist Nemi Lark's tendrils twitched over her data slate, capturing every angle. The tattoo's design pinged her archives, cross-referenced military sigils from a dozen empires, but this one matched no public human record. Anomalous marking, she murmured into her log, her avian crest fluffing in intrigue. Possible covert designation, flagging for coalition review, and Varkadian command. Her transmission beamed out instantly, pinging factions from the Spire's neutral relays. Scrutiny would spread like plasma fire. High Strategos Olnsar's command deck thrummed with tactical overlays as Nemi's report arrived. He leaned forward on his throne pedestal, his elongated cranium pulsing with bioluminescent veins. A human liaison bears the mark of their hidden blade dance? Deception. They parade weakness to lure strikes. His advisors clustered, crests bobbing in agreement. Humans were traitors, not warriors. Restraint masked frailty. Launch covert probes on their edge lane freighters. Exposed hulls will force their hand. Reveal the lie. No overt claims. Yet, orders cascaded. Raider squads prepped, cloaked in shadow tech targeting the vulnerable shipping lanes Rook's proposal aimed to protect. Back in his assigned quarters on Orison Spire, Rook sealed the door and activated the encrypted terminal. His fingers flew across the interface, composing the sealed burst to Earth Command. Tattoo compromised during dominance ritual. Varkadian champion witnessed. No hostility yet, but escalation likely. Request accelerated contingency prep. Deter without provoke. He hit send. The message quantum locked and routed through anonymous relays. Leaning back, he rubbed the exposed skin on his back. The ink's faint warmth a reminder of oaths taken in shadowed briefings. Diplomacy first always, but readiness never slept. 2 cycles later, alarms shattered the fragile calm of the edge lane. Human freighter Endeavor's Grace shuddered under plasma lances, its hull venting atmosphere in ragged tears. Captain Lena Torres braced in the bridge, her crew juggling damage control, sealing breaches, rerouting power, launching distress buoys. All hands, triage protocols, medbay to sections 3 and 7, evac those wounded. In the cargo hold, Sergeant Mara Vance, aboard for relief rotation, shouted orders over the din, her squad hauling injured spacers to escape pods. Ramirez, seal that bulkhead. Chen, get the civvies moving. Double time. A Varkadian raider breached the outer lock, shock troopers pouring in with vibro lances humming. Vance met them head-on, her pulse rifle barking precise bursts. Disable, not kill, per rules of engagement. One raider dropped, clutching a leg wound. Another retreated under suppressive fire. She multitasked without breaking stride, barking chords to gunners while pattern-reading the enemy's probe patterns, feints from port, real push starboard. They're testing shields, not committing. Flank 'em through vents. Her team adapted on the fly, crawling maintenance shafts to hit from behind. Raiders withdrew after minutes, but not before Grace listed. 22 dead, hull scarred. News feeds lit up galactic nets. Varkadian probes blamed on pirates, but patterns screamed Empire fingerprints. Rook watched from Spire's observation deck. Casualties, real people, families on those freighters. No rage, just cold resolve. He patched through to Vance's after-action report. Sarge, solid work holding the line. ROE intact? Affirm, Commander. Took hits, but we patched and punched back. They're probing for weakness. Won't find it. Kethra Vorn paced her flagship's dueling hull, replaying the ritual holo. The tattoo burned in her mind. Earth's veiled oathmark, whispered in black markets by defectors. Total war doctrine, lawful annihilation, no mercy bypassed. Victory without atrocity. Humans hid such killers behind envoys? She slammed a fist into a training post, scale scraping. Honor demanded challenge, but Ul's probes spat on ritual's end. Recognition froze her then. Now, it itched, like unclaimed prey. Ulmsar dismissed her protest holocall with a wave. The mark proves trickery, champion. Probes expose it. Join the next, or stay to duels. She cut the link, mandibles grinding. Empire pride blinded them. Human's weakness had parried her perfectly, endurance unflagging. Nemilark compiled her dispatch, tendrils weaving data threads. Initial footage viral, human envoy unyielding, tattoo enigma, freighter defense disciplined. Not weakness, she noted. Restraint with teeth. Coalition stirred, queries flooded her slate. Humans, underestimated, now centered. Rook met the Varkadian lead envoy post-incident, voice level. Probes, risk the framework. Renew trade, or lanes close. The envoy's crest, flattened. Incidents happen. Prove your mettle beyond ink. Kethra watched from shadows, tail twitching. The mark meant more than duel. Galaxy's edge teetered. Empire provoked anyway, blind to the storm's quiet herald. Vance's squad docked at Spire for medevac, her arm bandaged but grip firm as she clasped Rook's hand. They're pushing, sir. We hold, lawful, always. He nodded, eyes steady. We do. Contingencies inbound. Endurance wasn't boast, it was duty. Shared across divides waiting to bridge. Ulm's next probe order queued. Raiders slipping into void. Provocation chosen. Tattoo's shadow ignored. Until cost mounted. Commander? Elias Rook leaned forward in the dim-lit conference chamber aboard the neutral station Accord's anchor, his voice steady as he addressed the holographic assembly. High Strategos Ulsar, we're tabling full access to our trade manifests. Compensation for verified damages and mixed species patrols along the border. But we need proof of these alleged violations before any human vessel raises a weapon. Let's end this before it spirals. The Varkadian commander's frilled crest flared crimson across the projection, his multifaceted eyes narrowing. Ulmsar's response crackled through the translators, laced with doctrinal certainty. Your concessions reek of weakness, human. The Empire does not negotiate with probes, compliance, or correction. Those are your frames. He severed the link without ceremony. Rook exhaled slowly, rubbing the hidden tattoo between his shoulder blades, a lattice of classified sigils that itched like a promise unkept. Around the table, Coalition reps from the minor houses shifted uneasily, their bioluminescent skins pulsing doubt. "Keep channels open," Rook murmured to his aide. "Log everything." Aboard the Varkadian battlecruiser Dreadfang, High Strategos Olnsar paced the command dais, his armored claws clicking against the deck. The human's restraint was a facade, he knew. Soft words masking cowardice. "Launch the punitive strike on Havenfall," he ordered, voice booming. "Target their shelters, Medfax. Break their will with terror's clarity. No survivors to spin tales." Probes had confirmed minimal defenses, a single corvette, ground teams focused on drills, perfect for demonstration. His adjuncts saluted, crests high in approval. Ulin ignored the faint unease from Champion Kethravorn's sector report earlier, honor quibbles from a duelist who favored blades over doctrine. Victory would silence them all. Sergeant Mara Vance crouched in Havenfall's primary shelter complex, her squad of 8 Marines running the 3rd evacuation drill in as many hours. Dust motes danced in the beam of her tack light as she barked. "Cycle 2 non-coms first, medpacks interleaved. Timmy, you're on point. Keep those kids moving without panic." The colony's children, wide-eyed in oversized vac suits, shuffled through the chutes with surprising calm, their parents murmuring encouragements. Vance wiped sweat from her brow, ignoring the ache in her knees from back-to-back sim runs. Intel had whispered escalation, Raider signatures inbound, but orders were clear. Prep for evac, not engagement. "We've got redundance on airlocks and O2 scrubbers," she told her second, Privatai Reyes. "If they poke, we shield and spool civvies to the shuttles. No first shots." Reyes nodded, juggling a tablet feed of orbital scans while handing out nutrient bars to the weary families. Humans didn't crack under marathon prep. They layered it, adapted, endured. Alarms shrieked colony-wide as Varkadian drop pods slammed into the outer hab domes. Vance's squad snapped to positions, rifles humming to non-lethal settings. Shelter lockdown, civvies deep. But the breach charges blew wide, and shock troopers poured in, hulking Varkadians in void black armor, plasma lances spitting azure fire. Mara's team held the inner bulkhead, suppressing fire, buying seconds for the last families to seal in. She multitasked the chaos, calling shuttle ETAs, patching a wounded Marine's suit, spotting patterns in the enemy's wedge formation. They're bypassing flanks. Reyes, reroute power to east vents, flush 'em. A trooper lunged through the gap. Vance sidestepped, baton cracking its crest before it could prime a grenade, but numbers overwhelmed. Lances pierced the medbay walls, igniting O2 tanks. Screams echoed from the sublevels as troopers dragged out hiders, children clutched in armored grips. Vance glimpsed it on her helmet feed, a lance spearing a toddler's vac suit, the burst of vaporized air. "Protect the core!" Her voice cracked once, fury leashed to command. They evacuated 38 souls before the shuttles lifted under fire, Mara covering the rear, her squad down to 4. Havenfall burned behind them, medfax slagged, bodies stacked like cordwood in the shelter pits. Archivist Nemi Lark's drone feed captured it all from low orbit, her neutral coalition mandate forcing impartiality even as her neural implants recoiled. Barcadian lances methodically executed clusters. Children first per some twisted efficiency, then torched the infrastructure. Casualties: 1,247 confirmed, mostly non-combatants. She cross-verified with evac shuttle manifests, her forearms trembling as she compiled the packet. "Transmission to Coalition Central," Nemi intoned into her recorder, voice level despite the gorge rising in her secondary throat. "Atrocity verified at Havenfall. Varkad forces targeted shelters and medical sites. Human response: prioritize civilian extraction under fire. No escalatory ordnance deployed." A pause, her data nodes firing warnings. "Alert. Human restraint thresholds exceeded. Doctrine shift probable. Recommend immediate mediation." She fired the report, then pinged a private channel to her human contacts. "They're pushing you past the line, Commander Rook." Footage attached. The Galaxy watches. Rook stood in the UNSS Reliance war room, the casualty hollows flickering before him, names, ages, frozen smiles from colony pics. Havenfall's kids, tiny faces amid the red-stamped dead. His aide handed him the verified slate, Nemi's drone cams looping the executions, lances thrusting into huddled groups, the wet crumple of suits, the silence after. "They killed our children," Rook said quietly, the words formal, weighted, activating the encrypted chain. His fingers danced over the console. biometrics unlocking the Total War doctrine protocols. The tattoo beneath his uniform burned as if alive. Sigils committing him to the Shadow Ops, authorization cascade, relay to Soul Command, copy to allies. Lawful total engagement authorized. Targets. Command nexus. Logistic spines. No neutrals touched. Alerts pinged galaxy-wide as the chain lit up. Human fleets repositioning with eerie precision. No broadcasts of rage, just cold vectors. Rook met his bridge crew's eyes. Their nods, steady. We end this professionally. For the kids. Deep in Dreadfang's enforcer bays, Kethra Vorn slammed her dueling gauntlet onto Ulsar's strategy table, crest inverted in fury. High strategos, this stains our honor. Shelters, hatchlings, we are warriors, not butchers. Uln's eyes whirled black with irritation. Honor bends to doctrine, champion. Terror enforces peace faster than your blades. Their restraint crumbles. Watch them rage. Kethra's mandibles clicked defiance, but she held her ground. I saw the liaison's mark in the probe feeds, the ink of their hidden killers. You ignore it at peril. Footage from Havenfall played muted. The executions, efficient, soulless. Enough, Uln snarled, reassigning her via console stroke. You enforce unity now. Silence the dissenters in the ranks, starting with your cohort. Grip tightens, or you break. Gethra saluted rigidly, stalking out, her mind churning. The humans hadn't raged yet. They'd planned, and that tattoo. She'd dueled men with such marks before, and shadows, unbreakable. Nemilark's next dispatch raced ahead. Humans invoke classified doctrine, no vengeance calls, only structured response. Varkad miscalculation confirmed, coalition. Prepare for paradigm shift. Rook watched the stars streak as Reliant jumped to Vector, his calm masking the hollow ache. The galaxy thought humans soft until lines crossed. Now, the cost mounted, doctrine awake. Raiders in the void met their first intercepts, precise, merciless fire from human pickets, logging every lawful strike. Uln Sar reviewed the initial losses. 3 raiders vaporized without warning, and his crest dimmed fractionally. Push harder, he ordered, but doubt flickered. The humans moved like a machine, not men undone. Kethra, quelling a murmuring squad, caught the fleet chatter. Humans prioritized the young to the last breath, then turned. She traced the tattoo's pattern in her memory banks, pre-vetted for total war, restrained until this. The Empire's grip slipped, one calculated cut at a time. Commander Elias Rook stared at the holographic star map flickering in Earth Command's shadowed briefing vault, his fingers tracing the activation codes etched into his neural implant. Authorized Delta Protocol, he said, voice steady as the room's alarms hummed to life. Across the void, hidden shipyards and the asteroid belts of Sol's outer reaches groaned awake, reserve fleets sliding from cryogenic docks like ghosts roused for judgment. Admiral Lena Korsakov nodded from the head of the table, her face etched with the lines of 1,000 simulations. You're reassigned, Rook. Diplomacy's over. That tattoo on your back makes you the executor now. Total War Doctrine. Full release. She didn't flinch at the words, neither did he. The ink across his shoulders, a classified lattice of neural pathways and commitment oaths, burned faintly under his uniform, a reminder of vows made in peacetime shadows. Rook exhaled, pulling up the Varkadian frontier lanes. His mind split the display, logistics flows in red, human trade routes in blue, the massacre sites pulsing black. No rage clouded his focus, just the cold math of campaigns. We don't chase their raiders, he said. Isolating a cluster of Empire hubs 3 jumps coreward, cut their fuel depots and relay stations first. Starve the beast before it bites. Korsakov leaned in. Timeline? 4 weeks to isolation. They'll scatter, overextend. We pick the engagements. He multitasked the projection, layering simruns, supply denial cascading into fleet paralysis. Humans didn't duel for honor. They dealt depth, layers that ground empires to dust. Hours blurred into a relentless grind. Rook worked without pause, cross-referencing alien sensor spectra with human stealth profiles, his team rotating shifts while he chained data streams. Fatigue tugged at the edges, but he pushed it down. Normal for a liaison who'd pulled double watches negotiating ceasefires. By dawn's cycle, the plan locked, cyber strikes to blind their eyes, boardings to seize keys, ROE ironclad against revenge. Out in the black, Human cyber units struck first. Lieutenant Jax Harlan's team, nested in a retrofitted freighter, punched ghost code into Varcadian lanes. Harlan juggled 3 consoles, eyes darting. Decrypting Empire encryptions while spoofing boy signals, his pattern recognition linking old pirate hacks to fresh Imperial quirks. Got their sensor net, he muttered, fingers flying. Blinding hubs Gamma, 7 through 12. They'll see ghosts for weeks. The effect rippled. Varcadian pickets went dark, convoys stumbling blind into dead space. High Strategos Ulsar slammed a clawed fist on his command dais aboard the dreadnought Iron Mandate, his frills flaring in fury. What sorcery is this? Our arrays. Silent. His aides scrambled, but the humans had woven denial into the ether, forcing him to dispatch scouts piecemeal. Privately, Ulnsar queried his archives. Human traders with no warrior caste, yet this coordination, unprecedented. No panic in their probes, just methodical excision. He conscripted neutrals from fringe worlds broadcasting threats. Yield or watch your lanes burn. Brutality broke soft species, he told himself. These humans would crack. Sergeant Mara Vance gripped the breaching charge, her squad maglocked to the Raider's hull as it limped through contested drift. Alarms wailed inside. Varcadians knew they were boarded. Breach on 3, she whispered over TACnet, her voice a calm anchor. Losses from the massacre gnawed at her, family on that colony. But she locked it down. Lawful conduct or nothing. The charge bloomed silent fire, peeling armor. Vance led the rush. Rifle barking controlled bursts, corridors choked with smoke, enemy shock troopers charging in ritual fury. Her squad multitasked, suppressing fire while dragging wounded, adapting to the raiders' twisting vents. Private Dr. Ruiz took a plasma graze, screaming but hauling a nav console anyway. Got the keys, Vance yelled, tackling a defender. They secured the bridge intact, prisoners zip-tied, testimony spilling, Empire orders for more raids, hub coordinates, casualties mounted. 2 down, medevac burning hot, but the prize held. Vance slumped against a bulkhead, wiping blood from her cheek. Intact capture. Send the data. Endurance carried them. What aliens called a marathon, humans walked daily. Back at Fleet HQ, Rook integrated the feed. Mara's boarding lit up his map. Fresh lanes exposed. Pressure mounted from hotheads. Glass their civvy worlds, the staffer snarled. Rook shut it down. Row stands. No retaliatory strikes. Protected corridors for neutrals, full evac protocols. He routed drone screens along escape vectors, buying time despite the fury in the room. Revenge tempted, but doctrine demanded restraint. Win clean, or lose the peace. Archivist Nemi Lark arrived via shuttle to the Endurance, her coalition insignia gleaming under harsh lights. A slender species of floating orbs and sensor tendrils, she pulsed neutral blue, recorder drones whirring. I embed as observer, she intoned. Voice a harmonic chime through translators. Verify claims, record for the Concorde. Captain Ellis, Mara's CO waved her aboard. Stick close. We're not monsters. Nemi's tendrils quivered. Humans, underestimated merchants, now this machine uncoiling. She documented the ROE briefings, the medbays tending mixed crews, the quiet pack bonding over ration packs. A human corpsman joked with a wounded alien auxiliary, sharing a story of old Earth floods. Laughter bridged the gap. Nemi filed it. Resilience amid grief, not savagery. Ulsar's response escalated. Hollow broadcasts blared across neutral nets, conscripted worlds aflame. Civilians marched as shields. Humans falter before true resolve. His fleet surged blindly, logistics fraying. In his sanctum, he pored over captured human signals, patterns too fluid, too layered. No rage broadcasts, just precise cuts. They fight campaigns, he growled to his second, not skirmishes. Adapt or Kethra Vorn, still aboard a forward frigate, felt the shift in her bones. Squad murmurs had stilled under her glare, but fleet chatter confirmed. Human reserves emerging, hubs falling silent, that tattoo on the liaison's back. Rook, the feeds named him, signaled prepped doctrine, restrained until threshold crossed. She flexed her duelist gauntlets, honor demanding truth. The Empire's vaunted terror faltered against this. Depth. Rook watched the map evolve, cyber-blinded foes scattering, shipyards poured hulls, corvettes with modular strikes, carriers birthing drones by the thousand. His team ground on, no boasts. Just work. Next phase. Pinch the core hubs, he said, reallocating Mara's squad to escort evac lanes. Casualties climbed, friends lost, but the machine hummed. Optimism held, grounded in sweat and code. Nemi's drones captured it all. Vance's squad herding neutral shuttles through fire. Harlan's ciphers dancing denial. They endure, she pulsed to her logs, amazement tinting her harmonics. Coordinate without fracture. And mercy, corridors open while empires burn their own. Her reports beamed to Concord archives, seeding doubt in galactic halls. Oln Sar dispatched hunter packs, but they ghosted into traps. Human adaptability shone. Crews jury-rigging alien wrecks into pickets, Vance's infantry holding breach points through endless shifts. Push, she urged her squad, sharing water with a limping alien POW who'd flipped testimony. Bonds formed in the crush. Rook paused at a viewport. Stars streaked by jumps. The tattoo itched. A vow to end it right. No glory, just victory's cost. Hulls hold, lives tallied. Yet the plan held, Empire's grip unraveling. Peaceful traders, they called humans, now the galaxy saw the machine beneath. In the void, fleets maneuvered, the war's true shape emerging. Not duels of pride, but a campaign carved with precision. Commander Elias Rook leaned into the holotable's glow, his fingers tracing the 3 glowing supply corridors like threads in a noose. Iron loom is green across the board, he said, voice steady as the deck plates underfoot. Naval interdiction on my corridors Alpha, through Charlie. Cyber teams, spike their relays now. The special ops, you're the knot, pull tight. The bridge hummed with controlled urgency. Human officers juggling feeds from drone swarms, EW pods and marine dropships. Rook's tattoo itched faintly under his uniform, a reminder of doctrines long buried in diplomacy's shadow. No time for ghosts. Corridors severed meant starving the Varcadian advance without torching neutrals. A surgeon's cut, not a butcher's. Far across the void, human fleets uncoiled like patient predators. Carriers spat drone clouds that bloomed into sensor ghosts, jamming Varcadian targeting locks while railgun batteries painted kill zones in overlapping fire. Escorts twisted into the traps, their hulking frames crumpling under layered barrages. A marine boarding team punched through a freighter's hull, mag clamps sealing breaches as they fought corridor to corridor, disabling engines without venting the crew. Sergeant! Mara Vance gripped her squad's harnesses as the drop pod screamed toward the lane anchor station, a spindly nexus orbiting a gas giant's tether point. Alarms wailed, Varcadian pickets swarming like hornets. Timed extraction at 12 minutes, she barked over the roar. Disable the anchors, preserve the civvies. No heroes, no grudges. Her squad hit the docking arm boots first, breaching with shaped charges. Inside, station workers, multi-species tenders, wide-eyed and frozen, huddled behind consoles. Varcadian guards fired from barricades, plasma scorching bulkheads. Mara multitasked the chaos, directing fire teams left, patching a squadmate's suit right, all while scanning schematics for the anchor cores. Flank gamma tube. Riley, cover the workers, get them to the evac pods. A guard's bolt clipped her shoulder plate, spinning her into a console. Pain flared, but she rolled up firing, dropping the shooter. Her team pressed, endurance kicking in where Varcadian reinforcements faltered, humans pushing through fatigue that would have broken others, cores overloaded in sequence, the station's lanes flickering offline. But cost came quick. Riley went down to a grenade, then Patel shielding a worker. Mara hauled the last civvy aboard her pod as the timer hit 0, blasting clear amid debris. 2 gone, but the station spun on, intact. High Strategos Ulnsar's command spire shuddered as reports flooded in. Corridors Alpha and Bravo severed, his aide rasped, frills quivering. They struck all 3 simultaneously. Our cycles can't sync countermeasures. Uln's mandibles clicked in fury, but his mind raced through doctrine. Humans should break under terror. Instead, they wove strikes like a web. Counter-ambush Zeta formation, he ordered. Pin their flanks, reclaim Bravo. Varcadian heavies surged, lances thrusting into what scans showed as static human lines, but the humans shifted mid-stride. Drones reformed into decoys, pulling escorts into fresh kill zones while fleets pivoted objectives, cyber strikes now hitting reserves, Marines boarding secondary tenders, all screens fractured with overloads. Command cycles lagged 2 minutes behind the flux. Impossible, he growled, claws scoring his throne. They adapt faster than our projections. Recall. Regroup. No recall came. Human pattern recognition turned his trap into chaff, objectives flipping like cards in a deck only they could read. Kethra Vorn chained in the human prize ship's brig, her duelist scars throbbing from the boarding. Around her, captured Varkadians snarled and spat, warriors expecting execution after their empire's massacres. But the humans moved methodically. Med scans for wounds, water dispensers activated, charges read aloud under galactic law. No vengeful blades, no broadcasts of their screams. A human medic, Vance's squad mate, bandaged himself, approached her cell. Shock Trooper Vorn, fractured mandible, internal bruising. Treatment? She tensed, honor clashing with suspicion. Why spare us? Your worlds burn with our deeds. He shrugged, injecting a stabilizer without flourish. Law says prisoners get due process. Atrocities get trials, not torches. His eyes held no rage, just weary resolve. Controlled, not crazed. Kethra's frills flattened as he moved on, treating a rival duelist with the same care. Justice carved from revenge, her empire wielded terror as doctrine. These humans severed it surgically, sparing workers even in assault. Loyalty cracked, a hairline fracture in her oath. Back on the flag bridge, Rook watched the PsyOps feed spool up. Corridors dark, prisoners secure. Time to fracture deeper. Authorize broadcasts, he told the comm officer. Atrocity footage verified by neutrals. Side by side with our handling. No calls for hate. Let their troops see the mirror, the crazy skies of executed human civilians. Then cuts to med bays where their own kind received Geneva-equivalent care. Imperial morale feeds spiked with queries. Why fight for butchers who discard us? Humans kill ships, not souls. Ulnsar smashed a console. Broadcasts infiltrating his own lines. Troops hesitated in counterpushes, whispers of defection rippling. Humans didn't roar for blood. They whispered truths that cut deeper. Archivist Nemi Lark drifted her shuttle through the debris fields. Recorders whirring. Human wrecks tumbled silent. Casualty lists scrolling. Riley, Patel, dozens more from Mara Squad alone. No triumphal anthems, just quiet recovery ops. Marines towing allied hulks while Varkadian survivors got life pods.
She patched into Rook's open channel, her coalition's mandate demanding verification.
Commander, your operation severed 3 corridors, 0 neutrals hit, but losses. Your people mourn without show. Rook's face filled her display, etched with the weight. We pay to keep it clean, Archivist. War's cost isn't victory parades. It's the names we carry. Nemi's tendrils curled in thought. Logs updating. Human restraint under provocation. Verified. Casualties emphasize discipline, not glory. Her reports would beam galactic. Humans as guardians, not monsters. The Empire's terror met a force that broke lines and spared souls, their ordinary resolve rewriting the star's calculus. In the void, supply chains crumbled, but the humans pressed on. Humble tools in a trade officer's hands, weaving peace from war's grim loom. Elias Rook leaned over the hollow table, fingers tracing the jagged lines of captured Varkadian schematics. Greenlight it, he said, voice steady as the deck plates hummed beneath his boots. Modular strike pods, counter-grav breachers, adapt them now. We shave months off this timeline, or we don't end it at all. His staff nodded without fanfare, engineers already pulling apart the alien tech in the adjacent bay. Rook watched the projections flicker, Varkadian grav plates, rigid and over-engineered for their shock troopers, now sliced into lightweight pods that humans could reconfigure mid-drop. No cheers, just the quiet grind of tools on metal. One tech, sweat beading on his brow after 18 hours straight, glanced up. Sir, their specs say these plates warp under sustained fire. We're threading them with our composites. Might hold, might not. Test it live, Rook replied. We adapt, or we break. He felt the familiar pull in his shoulders, the classified ink across his back itching like a reminder. Trade officer by day, war architect by necessity. The innovations rolled out in days, not cycles. Pods that latched onto enemy hulls like improvised barnacles, breaching without the Empire's telltale plasma blooms. Imperial scouts reported ghosts in their sensor nets, strikes landing where no fleet signatures appeared. Rook's teams multitasked the refits. One squad welding while another ran sims, patterns emerging from the chaos that Barcadian doctrine couldn't parse. Deeper in the fleet, human logisticians turned the tide. Lieutenant Hara Kens, eyes ringed from back-to-back shifts, orchestrated mobile depots that danced like decoys across the void. Convoys split and reformed under drone swarms, feinting toward dead sectors while real supplies ghosted through asteroid veils. Deception Protocol Alpha, she murmured, into her comm, juggling fleet manifests, fuel tallies and sabotage manifests on split screens. Her teams endured 40-hour runs without a murmur, pattern recognition spotting Imperial patrol gaps aliens drilled by rote. Simultaneously, saboteurs infiltrated Varcadian fuel synthesizers, those massive orbital forges belching hypermatter. A human diver, breath steady in his rig, planted micro-yield charges on coolant lines, multitasking breather checks with seismic reads. The plant starved, Imperial fleets limping homeward, range halved overnight. Rook reviewed the reports in his dim-lit quarters. Coffee gone cold. Unbreakable chains, yes, but at cost. 2 divers lost to security sweeps, their pods crumpling silent in the black. Sergeant Mara Vance gripped her squad's harnesses as the breacher pods slammed into the Imperial depot's hull. Alarms wailed through the countergrav field. Neutral miners huddled in the bays below. Krillari civilians pressed into service as living shields. No bombardment, Mara had insisted over the command link. Riskier extract, but we saved them all. Her team, down 2 from the last op, breached anyway. Plasma hissed as they cut through, Vance leading point, stack left, eyes on thermals. Her Marines moved fluid, enduring the depot's spin-grav shifts that bucked alien borders off balance. Imperial guards, hulking Varcadians, charged, honor blades gleaming. Vance parried one, her rifle barking controlled bursts. Flankers, cover the miners. A Marine took a blade to the thigh, grunting through the pain, hauling a trembling Krillari onto his shoulder regardless. They fought room to room, Vance reading the guards' rigid patterns, their duelist stances telegraphed like old vids. Creativity sparked. She yanked a loose panel, improvising a ricochet shot that dropped 2. Losses mounted. Her second, gut shot, patched himself mid-fight. 20 miners extracted, depot secured, but 3 Marines bagged. Vance knelt by the fallen, jaw tight. Lawful conduct, always, she whispered, tagging their beacons. The galaxy would see. Humans chose harder paths, paid in blood. High Strategos Olmsar's command spire thrummed with fury, his crest flanges quivering. Retaliate, he snarled to his aides, projecting false flag strikes on neutral shipping lanes. Varcadian raiders hit the convoys, blame the humans, let the coalitions turn. His fleets launched, plasma lances carving freighters, debris blooming like accusations, but human intelligence pierced the veil. Rook's analysts, cross-referencing drone feeds with captured comms, exposed it near real-time. Patterns clicked, Imperial drive signatures masked as human, but fuel traces mismatched. Feeds hit neutral nets instantly. Nemi Lark's coalition channels first. Ulm-Sar watched the backlash erupt, his screens flooding with outrage. Impossible, he growled. How do they see through? Kethra Vorn ghosted through the human flagship's vents, her duelist cloak blending with shadows. Honor demanded Rook's blood. To avenge the humiliations, restore Varcadian prestige. Her blade hummed. Mission clear. Assassinate the soft-spoken liaison. End the human surge. She slipped into his quarters, air recyclers masking her steps. Rook stood bare-backed at the console, reviewing pod schematics. Kethra froze. There, across his skin, the tattoo. Interlocking spirals of ancient human script, the mark of total war doctrine. Pre-vetted operatives, unbound once innocence fell. She'd studied forbidden archives. It meant wars ended decisively, no half measures. Her crest flattened in shock. This wasn't bluster, it was restraint chained, released only by atrocity. Killing him would unleash it fully. She aborted, melting back into the ducts. Honor twisted in her gut. The humans fought as she would, but broader, patient. Olnsar's terror tactics mocked true warriors. She transmitted a single encrypted burst. The marked one lives. Doctrine awakens. Back on the bridge, Rook pulled on his tunic. Unease prickling but dismissed. Staff assembled, faces drawn. Proportionality. He opened the debate. Empire expects atrocities. Planet cracks, sieges. We don't give them that narrative. Ken's pushed back, voice raw from losses. Sir, their fuel saboteurs hit our outliers, push harder, starve their cores. No, Rook said firmly, meeting eyes. Military isolation only, targeted strikes, no civilian worlds cracked or besieged. We end this lawful, or we become them. Nods rippled, reluctant but resolute. His flaw gnawed, patience bordering hesitation, but it held them human. Limits set, the campaign sharpened, fleets coiling for precision cuts. Archivist Nemi Lark's stylus paused over her coalition slate, feeds from Mara's rescue replaying. Miners' testimonies poured in, humans risking all, losses tallied openly. Ulsar's false flags crumbled under human intel, exposed clean. Her initial reports had urged containment, humans escalate unchecked. Now, truth shifted. She drafted anew. Empire's deceptions confirmed. Human conduct exemplary. Innovation tempers force. Urge Varkadians surrender to avert catastrophe. Transmitted, it rippled through neutral channels, pressure mounting on Unsar's spire. Diplomats stirred. Coalitions realigned. Nemi felt the galaxy's gaze pivot, not to monsters, but guardians wielding humble ferocity. Unsar slammed a talon down. Kethra's abort report searing his console. Human innovations outpaced doctrine, supplies unbreakable, rescues defiant, intel omnipresent, retaliations backfired, reports demanding capitulation. His rigid campaigns fractured. Humans refused the atrocities, innovating faster, striking surgical. The war's loom tightened, peace woven from their controlled resolve. In the void, empires adapted slow, but humans pressed, refusing easy dark, forging light from necessity's edge. High Strategos Ulsar's claws scraped the holotable as the last cruiser locked into formation around Karen Gate. Concentrate fire lances on the refugee vectors, he growled to his sub-commanders, their crests flattening in deference. The humans will charge to save their weaklings. Slaughter them mid-leap, and this sector breaks. Refugee pods streaked toward the fortress's gaping maw, shields flickering under preliminary barrages. Unsar's mandibles clicked satisfaction. The gate's relay arrays would broadcast the carnage galaxy-wide, cowing neutrals and shattering human resolve. His forces, bloodied but cohesive, ringed the station like a noose, 80% strength, enough for this cull. Aboard the Endurance, Commodore Elias Rook leaned into the command link, eyes tracing sim projections without a blink.
Phase 1. Feints from vectors Bravo and Delta. Draw their pickets out. His voice stayed level, soft as trade negotiations, but the bridge crew moved like extensions of his will. Cyber teams spiking the gate's outer nets, drone swarms mimicking assault signatures.
Lieutenant Hale patched in from ops, cyber lockdown initiating. Their relays glitching, 40 seconds to full blackout. Rook nodded. Multitasking feeds. Refugee trajectories, marine insertions, allied fleet sinks. Humans didn't crack under the load. They layered it, adapted. Phase 2 synchronized strikes, prioritize evac corridors. No glory rushes. Lives first. Sergeant Mara Vance kicked open the breached airlock, her squad fanning into Karun Gate's arterial corridor. Stack and clear. Doc, tag the civvies. Pulse rounds cracked the dim haze, Imperial shock troopers crumpling from interleaved fire. Mara's rifle barked precise. Headshots on armor joints, no waste. While she slung her TACCAM, logging every hostile drop, every civilian pull from side ducts. Contact left, Reyes yelled, dragging a limping refugee as plasma scorched his pauldron. Mara pivoted, grenade priming mid-stride, multitasking suppression and route marking. Her squad pushed 200 meters in 5 minutes, casualties mounting. Jenkins down, gutted, Patel venting atmosphere from a leg wound. They didn't falter. Keep evacs flowing, lawful kills only, she ordered, voice steady over screams. Endurance wasn't bravado. It was refusing the quit while blood slicked the deck. Deeper in, Kethra Vorn gripped her duelist's blade, watching Ulsar's feed from a shadowed relay node. The humans carved corridors like they owned the dark, methodical, unbreaking. Her crest quivered. That tattoo on the liaison's exposed arm in briefings, the ink mark of their hidden doctrine, burned in memory. Empire honor demanded victory, but this was no rabble. Ulnsar's terror calculus ignored the cost they inflicted on themselves. She keyed her personal slate, uploading schematics, primary ducts, Override codes for evac bays. High strategos, she subvocaled. Through encrypted burst, the humans prioritize weaklings. This fails. His rejection snarled back. Dismiss her as spent. Enough. Kethra patched a tight beam to human command. Vorn, champion duelist. Schematics attached. Codes grant access. Terms: no reprisals on civilians or surrenders. Or, I let your blood paint these walls. Rook's console chimed amid the ops roar. He pulled the packet, verifying stamps. No traps, pure utility. Kethra Vorn, enemy ace. Now conduit. Suspicion tugged. Flaw of his diplomatic days. Over-trusting bridges. But necessity overrode, except under custody protocols, he told security. Monitored feed, full trace, and broadcast effector protections. Safe passage for all who stand down. His order rippled out, encouraging fractures. Humans built coalitions mid-fight, not just broke foes. Mara's helmet pinged the codes, doors hissing open ahead. Refugees surging. Born's gift! Push! But Imperials poured in, a counterwave. She led the breach, rifle emptying as shrapnel peppered her visor. Squad down to 6, but they held the junction. Cams capturing it all. Lawful extractions, no executions. Cost tallied in medevac screams, but routes secured. Vance endured, pattern-spotting enemy rotations before they peaked. Adapting fire lines on the fly. Archivist Nimi Lark floated in her neutral observer pod. Docked at the gate's fringe under treaty flag. Her arrays captured it raw. Imperial pods herded for slaughter pens. Ulnsar's own orders leaked via glitchy relay. Humans, feinting outer, locking nets, Marines threading hell for evacs. She triggered live broadcast. Unfiltered, time-stamped. Coalition viewers, witness, Empire masses for massacre. Humans counter with precision, documenting restraint. Galactic nets lit, propaganda crumbled. Imperial line troopers hesitated, crests drooping. Desertion spiked as Nemi's feed looped the pens. The human cams showing no war crimes. They fight as we would not, a Kethran sub-officer muttered on open channel peeling off. Ulsar's bridge shuddered under precision strikes. Human kinetics lancing his cruisers. Ground teams blooming green on evac maps. Negotiate! He barked at the human link. Surrender the weaklings. Accept supremacy terms. Your endurance falters. Rook's response cut clean. Terms when civilians are safe. Capability neutralized first. No fury, just fact. Is multi-phase synced. Space barrages pinning heavies. Cyber holding the gate inert. Mara's squad linking final ducts. Refugees poured out. Tens of thousands tagged and shuttled. Kethra emerged from shadows, blade sheathed, hands raised as Marines cuffed her under Rook's watch. Her eyes met his tattoo through the feed. Recognition, not fear. You wage total war without the rage, she rasped, crest lifting fractionally. My people see now. Rook nodded once, humble in the grind. We ended lawful. Your aid saves more than it costs. Defectors streamed in her wake, protected. Collapses accelerated. Nemi's broadcast peaked. Evacuation verified. Empire's terror unmasked. Humans, they adapt, endure, without abandoning the vulnerable. Desertions hit critical. Ulsar's noose frayed. The high strategos clutched his console as his fleet fragmented. Humans pressing not for slaughter but salvation. Karin Gate, Terror's anvil, flipped to their forge. Evacs clear, strikes poised. He had forced the assault. They chose the trap. In the void, restraint sharpened the blade. Rook watched the last pod dock, crew steady despite the butcher's bill. Mara Vance's voice crackled. Corridors green, sir, were spent, but holding. Humans didn't boast. They tallied, bonded, pressed on. Kethra, cuffed but unbowed, watched feeds with Nemi. Their liaison, that mark. They prepared for this abyss. Respect edged her tone. First crack in Imperial stone. Ulsar's final hail died unanswered. Capability gone. Negotiations opened on human terms. The fortress, built for broken screams, echoed with departures instead. Empires broke on underestimation. Humans forged ahead, light from necessity's edge unyielding. Commander Elias Rook leaned into the holotable's glow, his voice steady as he keyed the fleet-wide channel. All wings execute Enigma protocol. Weapons clusters first. Disable, don't destroy. Engines secondary. Give them the choice to yield. Probes streaked from human carriers like silent arrows, threading the Imperial cordon with surgical precision, their payloads blooming against shield generators and plasma vents. Rook watched the returns flicker. A dreadnought's batteries went dark, its flanks exposed but hull intact. Corvettes shuddered to a halt, propulsion cores cold, no vengeful barrages, no shattered wrecks, just crippled giants drifting in surrender formation. His bridge crew moved like extensions of his will, humans juggling damage assessments, alien liaison feeds, and civilian evac pings without a flinch. Lieutenant Chen cross-checked trajectories while murmuring to a Qatari sensor tech, adapting their grid on the fly. Ensign Patel patched a flickering relay mid-calculation, her eyes flicking between 3 overlays. Rook felt the familiar pull in his shoulders, 36 hours without real rest, but pushed it down. This was the encirclement's knife edge. One slip, and Olmsar's remnants could glass the colony worlds below. Admiral's wing reports terror units neutralized, Chen said, not looking up. Mara's borders are in. Command nodes lighting up green. Rook nodded, eyes on the core carrier where Sergeant John Mara Vance's squad punched through. From her helmet feed, patched to his station, he saw her survivors, down to 12 from 20, stacking at a blast door. Vance's voice cut through static. Breaching. Hold fire unless fired upon. We end this clean. Charges whispered open the hatch, stun rounds cracked into the dim corridor, dropping armored guards in heaps. An Imperial officer lunged blade high. Mara sidestepped, baton cracking his helm with controlled force, not a killing blow. Her team flowed past, securing consoles, zip-tying Olmsar's inner circle as they barked futile overrides. But the cost mounted. A grenade fragment shredded PVT Ruiz's leg. Lance comprehended. Hale took plasma to the shoulder, slumping against a bulkhead as Medigel hissed. Vance knelt by Hale, applying tourniquet one-handed while directing arrests. No retreat order gets out, she growled into comms. Empire's done burning worlds. Rook's jaw tightened. Another squad halved. Faces he'd briefed weeks ago now medevac priorities. War's toll wasn't glory. It was empty bunks and ghosts in the logs. Deeper in the carrier, High Strategos Olmsar stood defiant in his sanctum, claws clenched around a dead man trigger for system-wide ordnance. Surrender? To primates? He snarled at the intruding boarders, his aides already cuffed. Kethra Vorn, his once champion shock trooper, stepped forward from the shadows, wounded from earlier clashes, her duelist's scars livid under flickering lights. She'd turned weeks back, feeding intel after glimpsing Rook's tattoo in a leaked hollow. Now her mandibles clicked in grim resolve. Strategos, halt the civilian strikes. Their mark demands it. Olmsar whirled, eyes narrowing on the shared feed Rook had broadcast. Elias's back bared in a secure channel, the classified ink stark, a coiled serpent devouring its tail encircled by runes of total war, invoked for the innocent slain. Kethra's voice boomed public now, patched galaxy-wide via neutral relays. This is the sigil of ending. Humans invoke it only after blood debt on non-combatants. No mercy for atrocity, but law for the yielded. Stand down, Strategos. Your terror broke them open. Don't make it shatter you. Olsar hesitated, trigger hovering. Then Vance's squad burst in. Stunners felled his guards. She advanced, rifle low. High Strategos, you're under arrest for war crimes. Hands where we see him. He lunged. Vance swept his legs, pinning him with knee and cuff. No excess force, even as his curses echoed. Rook exhaled as the feed cut. Capture confirmed. No scorched retreat. Hours later, in the captured flagship's wardroom, makeshift under humming emergency lights, Rook faced the Empire's remnant command via hololink. Kethra at his flank, Vance's bandaged squad flanking the prisoners. Nemi Lark, the coalition archivist, recorded from a neutral shuttle, her multifaceted eyes unblinking. Terms are non-negotiable, Rook stated, voice even projecting via cords. Terror legions demilitarized, disbanded under coalition watch. Tribunals for atrocity architects, the mass executions, the colony purges. Full reparations to victims' worlds audited transparently. Your borders open to oversight, no more expansion on fear. Ulmsar, shackled in a holding cell feed, spat kitten shards. You'll unravel without our lash. Kethra's crest flared. Shame, not fury. We lashed innocence, Strategos. Their restraint shames our haste. Nemi Stylus paused, her archive drone whirring closer. She'd come skeptical, cataloging human barbarism rumors, but logs showed otherwise. Rook turned to medbays next. Humans in motion. Vance oversaw it herself. Limping between cots. Imperial wounded triaged alongside human casualties. Dermal regenerators humming on alien physiologies humans had jury-rigged overnight. A Kethra clan trooper gasped as Patel adjusted an IV. Human synth blood adapted for their oxygen-rich cells. "Why, heal us," the trooper rasped. Vance met his gaze. "You fought. We finish fights fair. Civilians down planet get first dibs. Your lot waits turn." Rook watched via drone. A surrendered gunner clutched a human corpsman's hand, mandibles trembling in alien tears. Mercy wasn't weakness. It was the blade sheathed after necessity's cut. Nemi's final dispatch beamed out as med teams worked, her neutral seal authenticating every frame. Humans encircled Empire without extermination, captured command intact, aid extended to foes. Restraint amid decisiveness, the sigil invoked, yet innocence spared. Peaceful traders waged total war only when preyed upon, and end it lawfully. Galactic nets lit with reactions. Qatari analysts scrambling human archives. Vorthi envoys querying tattoos. Coalitions debating integration. Underestimation's lesson etched in data. Touch human civilians. Face the serpent. Rook stood on the flagship bridge at dawn cycle. Vance at his side. Kethra linking to her clan's survivors. "Fleet drawdown commences," he ordered. "Secure trade lanes. Escort neutrals home. Policy update. All human pacts embed the warning. Innocents slain invoke the doctrine. Yield before the coil tightens." Chen plotted vectors, humans and alien techs, sinking effortlessly. Endurance held as shifts blurred. Vance clapped his shoulder, her squad's remnants filing in. Fewer shadows now. "Cost was high, sir. But they see it." Kethra nodded, crest low in respect. "Your ink, it bound honor across voids." "My people will teach it." Nemi's voice chimed from a relay. Archive sealed, humanity's value confirmed. Not predators, guardians forged reluctant. Rook gazed at the stars. Empire's husks towed for scrap. Colonies blooming with relief ships. Humans returned to ledgers and handshakes, the galaxy wiser. Empires had broken on underestimation. Now restraint rebuilt bridges, unyielding light guiding the peace.